There have been a number of attempts to unionize Amazon workers around the United States, but up until now, none of them have been successful. However, down the road in Bessemer, Alabama, around 5,800 workers at the Amazon Fulfillment Center in Bessemer are currently involved in the process of voting on whether or not to join a union and affiliate themselves with the retail, wholesale, and department store union whose headquarters in Birmingham, Alabama, you see behind me. For the past couple days, I've been interviewing workers and organizers involved in the campaign, and they tell me that this time, something feels different. At the RWDSU Mid-South headquarters in Birmingham, I sat down with one of the lead union organizers working on the campaign to unionize Amazon workers at the Bessemer Fulfillment Center.
Thanks so much for joining me, man. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, Max. Joshua Brewer, Director of Organizing here at the BHM1 campaign. I've been with the union about 6 years.
Hell yeah, man. So, I drove down here to, really see what was going on, to talk to folks here. And I guess I wanted to, while I have you, try to convey for folks who are watching this around the country the electricity that's here right now, and how that developed. And you've been there from the beginning. So I guess for folks who maybe haven't been following the news, could you kind of walk us through the timeline of the organizing campaign and kind of how the sentiment among the workers at the Amazon Fulfillment Center in Bessemer has developed?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely didn't start last week. Sometimes it feels like it did, but no, it was late last summer. We go back to that kind of time period. Started talking to workers. Workers reached out to us through mutual connections. Look, they had a lot of concerns. They had a lot of concerns especially for us by surprise, because the facility had only been open for 3 or 4 months. And so for us, it was I don't want to say we were skeptical, but it just seemed really hard to believe that for a facility that housed this many people, that was just grand opening and all the fanfare and excitement around coming to Bessemer, which was a city that certainly needs industry, needs good jobs. For us to hear that workers were this agitated this fast, it seemed surprising. And so, but we sat down with Daryl, Jennifer, and other folks, and first met in hotel rooms, dark rooms, right? You're watching the parking lot when they're pulling through and seeing if they're being followed. And we met with groups that way for about a month or two. Really learned about what they were experiencing, what they were looking to change, and really kind of just dove into their lives a little bit. From there, we made a plan. We launched publicly on October 20th. When I say publicly, I mean also not just media-wise, but also on the gates. We brought organizers from members in our union that we all know, have long-term relationships with, have been with us for a long time, and work in poultry facilities, nursing homes, warehouses, manufacturing, ice cream, different industries around Birmingham and surrounding areas. And we just thought they'd be the best ones to talk to workers. They've got the experience. They're card-holding members, and they're motivated to share their story. And there's nothing better than a personal story. And so, a lot of people don't know our union hall is about 20 minutes from the site. It's where we've been headquartered for a very long time here in Birmingham. And so it felt for us very natural. Large, certainly. We understood, I think on some level, the scope of the fact that it would be, a larger campaign, and then certainly would probably garner some attention if it got moving. From October 20th, it just went bananas. We again came to the gates, about 20 organizers. At about 4:30 p.m. that evening, we had successfully bannered the whole community nearly with Amazon union information and phone numbers that you could call and get information and sign up and get to our website, get to our social media links, all those things, right? Start to get that information about what's going on into their hands. And from there, we actually stayed on the gates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the first nearly 3 months, about 2.5 months. Eventually just got so cold that it wasn't necessary to continue the road. We were doing 1 hour rotations. Everybody was freezing. It was like, look, we'll cut it back to shift change. We'll do about 6-7 hours a day versus the full 24. But, we haven't left. We've been on those gates for every day except for Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday and Christmas Eve. We've been out there. We've been answering workers' questions, talking to people. For a long time, it was that we talked to them right at the red light. Amazon changed those lights, or had the county change those lights, which has been made much to do about. But it's fascinating. It really shows you Amazon's reach. But that's been the plan. It's just a regular community organizing campaign in a traditional way. And we believed and now certainly believe we were correct, that we would basically just be an extension of what is already going on across the country. And that if we just gave folks a ability and a vehicle to find real common ground and change, that they'd take advantage of it. And they have. Workers, thousands of cards in a time that I say often, we spent most of our time just making copies of cards and taking them to the board. I mean, it was moving so fast. So, tribute to the organizers on the gates and really just the workers in the community making it happen. But, the rest is history. They got enough attention, and here we are voting, getting ready to count those ballots in about a month here.
Yep. Yeah, so when listeners and viewers see this, we'll be farther along in the lead up to when votes are going to be counted on March 29th. And so I wanted to kind of round out by asking you two questions, right? One about the organizing strategy and one about the kind of makeup of the workers themselves here. So let's work backwards from that. So could you give viewers a sense of the kind of workforce that is here, right? Who is working at this massive Amazon fulfillment center in Bessemer down the road? And I guess what does a union mean to that community of people? Because we're talking about 5,800 workers.
Sure, absolutely. I think the facility reflects the community. I think the workers there they're gritty people. They're strong. They're proud. They're hardworking people. They're proud of their community and their town. But they're also tired. They're tired of having to worry every week if their bills are going to be paid. Amazon knew coming in that the community experienced 30% poverty. And so I think that the workers recognize the need to not only lock in what they do have, but to also add to that so that they can continue in Bessemer, to be proud to work at Amazon. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, that's our goal. Our goal is to not keep the frown face up on the logo forever. Mm-hmm. Our goal is to turn that thing around and let it smile, because the workers are happy and proud to work at a fulfillment center where their needs are met and they've got a voice. And so we'll be happy and proud to get those boxes sent to our house when that happens and support our members. That's going to be a good day. And so I think that's really the reflection of the town, is that it's a town of tradition, of pride, of hard work. Unions have built this town. They were throughout the last 50 to 60 years. And as they left, so too did opportunity. And so too did economic gains. And so I think that's what's beautiful about this situation. There was excitement around Amazon, excitement for the opportunity. And I think some of that excitement is still there. But workers just want to know that they're going to be protected. The things that they like about their job, that it's still going to be secure. They're not going to be an at-will employee. And they're going to know that no matter what, as long as they come to work every day, they do their best, and the rest will let the chips fall where they might, but they're going to have a job. And they're going to have an ability to pay their mortgage and pay their bills. And that's the peace of mind that I think workers are really organizing for, outside of just the simpleness of having a voice, a seat at the table, not feeling like their lives are dictated.
That's right. And when you say that the workforce at this fulfillment center is a reflection of the town, mm-hmm. right? Bessemer is a majority black town.
Yes.
The workforce is majority black.
Sure.
I believe the majority of the workers at that fulfillment center are women.
Sure.
Correct? And I mean, you got, a lot of different age groups there.
Sure.
So yeah, it is. And when you also say that there's a long tradition here, that site where the Amazon fulfillment center is used to be, steelworker shops. Right.
That's exactly right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, so I guess by way of rounding out, this is obviously not the first time people have attempted to form a union at an Amazon facility.
Sure.
Not always warehouses, but there have been other attempts among smaller groups as well to try to unionize different levels of Amazon workers. Mm-hmm. It seems like the campaign here in Bessemer
mm-hmm.
definitely has like the greatest fighting shot out of any campaign that I've seen so far. Could you talk a little bit about why that is, and what you here at the RWDSU in Birmingham, what y'all have kind of taken from the kind of previous attempts to unionize, or maybe the attempts to unionize, or the successful union attempts in Europe? I guess how are you doing things differently, and how are you finding success?
Sure. I think I would, resort back to what we were just talking about. It's the people here. It's a special group of people. It's a special city. It's a special time in our country. I think that is the most powerful part of all of this. Danny Glover talked about and said so many times, the continuum, the things that obviously so much of the fight has happened right here. And this is where so many times that we've changed direction in our country for the better over the last 40 years. And there's a lot of work to do. But this is not the first time, and it won't be the last time, that working people and people of color in the South have stood up, said, look, we've had enough. We're going to fight for a change. And so I think, this time and place, the reason for the success on this campaign, I think is truly attributed to the time and place in which we find ourselves in. The Black people that I associate with, our members, our union is majority Black as well. And so, this is something that we're not new to, but our folks feel like for the first time in a long time, the country as a whole supports them. They kind of see their struggle. They see their pain, and they've acknowledged it. And that was a big moment for our union, for just me as a human, for our country, and I think for a majority of people. And no, it's not everybody, but the majority of our country says, you know what, categorically, we got to do better, and we've failed systemically, and we need to do better. And I think Black people are also saying, you know what, we're going to take that torch, and we're going to find ways to change our own communities and take the agency of our labor, take control of our labor back and put it into the communities where we work and live. So many people want to ridicule marches and movements and riots and things where people finally say enough. But so often that's the only way progress is ever going to be made. And I think to look at the situation that's going on here, I think to see this as a continuation naturally, because we know, so many of our activists were a part of the tearing down of these monuments in Birmingham just a few months back. This is not going to stop here. This is a real vehicle for change. And I think when people say, what are they marching for? Well, what is that going to do? Well, you know what? This is one of those avenues. This is a way to take contractual, real steps towards a better tomorrow for not just people of color, but people in the South in general. And so I think it's just a space and time that we find ourselves lucky to be in.
We've got more coverage of the historic Amazon Union Drive in Bessemer coming your way right here on the Real News Network. So stay tuned and subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channels. And please support the work that we're doing by becoming a monthly sustainer at therealnews.com/support. This is Maximilian Alvarez for the Real News Network. Thank you for watching.